Welcome to the ADLERBLICK podcast, your eagle's view into the future, featuring visionary guests and hosted by Steffen.
Today's episode is with Botrus Mansour. He's the newly appointed Secretary General of the World Evangelical Alliance, which represents 600 million Christians in the world. Thank you, Botrus, for inviting me to your home here.
You're most welcome. Most welcome.
Botrus, you have a very interesting path you had so far. You are a trained lawyer, you were director of a school, and now you are General Secretary of the World Evangelical Alliance. How came those steps?
I came to know the Lord as my personal Savior in the Baptist school and during high school. And it felt natural just after that. And this is what we were taught, that you're a believer, you have Jesus in your heart, you serve him, you show that, you reflect that in your service. So I've been involved in ministry for a long time, since the beginning, and the university and the fellowship of Christian students in Israel. I was the chair there, and then I helped start a church, and I was part of Nazareth Village, a first century replica of how Nazareth looked like.
Yeah.
And so on and so on. And then in the year 2018, I was head of the Evangelical Alliance of Israel, called in Israel the Convention of Evangelical Churches in Israel. And I served in that capacity for 6 years. So I was also exposed to this international ministry of the World Evangelical Alliance. And I applied. After praying, after getting encouragement from my wife, from few friends, pastors, I applied for this position, and I felt I could help in it. I felt peace that go forward with that, and the Lord opened the door. So here I am.
Yeah, here I am, and we should add that we meet here in Nazareth, so not north of Israel, and I think that's also the place where you grew up, right?
Yes, I was born in Nazareth, and we still live in Nazareth. Most of my life here. Short episodes. We were 2 years in England when I was a kid, 4 years as a kid also in Jerusalem because of the profession of my father. My father is a journalist. Now he's 92, almost 92, but he moved to Jerusalem after the 67 war in order to cover for his newspaper the area, East Jerusalem, West Bank. So we moved there for 4 years. And then I had another 4 or 5 years also in Jerusalem as a student, where I studied law in the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. But the rest of the time I've been
fully Nazarene.
Yeah.
So, and what is the similarity of lawyer, school director, Evangelical Alliance, General Secretary? Yeah.
The Lord opened the door for me. I had in my heart to study law and become a lawyer because I cared about justice, and I cared about bringing justice to those that lacked it. In the school, just the Lord opened the door once again some time ago, and they invited me to come and be General Director of Nazareth Baptist School. My law profession was helpful because everything is related to legal things these days. Nothing is that simplistic, but you need always to be aware of regulations and law. So that was a part of what I did. And World Evangelical Alliance is legally, maybe it will help me here and there, the way of thinking, the systematic way of thinking and so on. But it all comes out of my love to Christ and to serve his church and to serve Jesus. So
that's the similarity, serving Jesus in different angles.
Yes.
Wonderful. You are an Arab Christian in Israel, so you are, I would assume, very close to a lot of Jews, Muslims, and Christians. Does this help you, or do you feel in between the chairs?
I think also between the chairs. You're in a very sensitive situation as an Arab Palestinian, also Israeli citizen at the same time, also Christian. but not from the mainline Christian community, but from evangelicals who are sometimes in the margins. But this has given me the opportunity to be sensitive and to build bridges, get to know Jews, work with Muslims, work with Jews, work with other Christians. And during the years, I've been involved also in ministry and in my profession with different types of people in this country, in this complicated and conflicted country. And I think this is a good thing for me in the World Evangelical Alliance, that I'm aware. It was not that I was my whole life with people like me, but people who are very different from a religious point of view, from a national point of view, and so on. So I think it helps to give more sensitivity to other people, and I hope to use that for his glory.
So when the World Evangelical Alliance chose you to be the leader of, 600 million Christians in the world, do you think this was the key why they said, why they chose you to have someone with the sensitivity and the broadness of you there?
They never told me why. I'm still surprised a little bit.
Yeah.
I hope they were aware of the good things, but also the weaknesses of having someone from a country like Israel with the difficulty that we have here, and also. But I hope I can use that for the good, and it won't be an obstacle in front of my service and my ministry in different places in the world.
And the announcement of the election was not long ago, right?
Yes, the installment was, they announced it in September, I think the 13th of September, in August, actually. We were sitting here behind me. I was sitting here, and I got the email telling me about it, but they announced it about a month later.
Yeah.
And then the installment was in the General Assembly of the World Evangelical Alliance. That is
in Seoul.
In Seoul. It's been held every 6 years.
Yeah.
And at the last day, on the 30th of October, there was the installment.
It was only one every 6 years?
Yes.
Okay. And you had in the last weeks already the opportunity to meet the Pope, right?
Yes, actually yesterday. The commemoration of 1700 years since the Nicene Creed or the Nicene Council in Nicene, in now Iznik, the name of the town in Turkey. So a special service was held, and the World Evangelical Alliance was invited to attend. And I thought that this is part of the foundation of our faith, the divinity of Christ that was affirmed. It's, of course, biblical, but the council at the time, the year 325, affirmed the biblical truth of Jesus' divinity. Because if he's not divine, how can he be the savior? So it was important for me to attend this meeting. It was a good chance. Also, I had a chance. Several of us from different Christian communities were asked to share 4 to 5 minutes. So I shared yesterday about the World Evangelical Alliance, how we see things for the future, why the Nicene Creed is important for us, the divinity of Christ, and so on, and the identity of Christ. I emphasize that at the end of the day, the question in the Nicene Council was, again, what do you say I am? You are the Messiah, the Son of God. That was Peter's answer. So it was always about the identity of Jesus, and it's still until today in different forms. It's always challenged because people have a difficulty with full man, full God, Savior of the world, and we need to defend that. We need to affirm that.
Yeah. I think the saying Jesus was a good person, everyone would agree somehow, yeah? But saying the conflicts comes in with the divinity. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But on the Pope, what was your impression of the Pope?
I had a very good impression, a very attentive person. Heard us patiently, and what he shared at the end of the sharings that the other people shared was about unity, focusing on Christ only. I like that. I like that. May God bless him. Of course, we have differences with the Catholics, not easy differences. But in the 2 days we spent in Turkey, I didn't hear anything of that I cannot accept with the differences. It was focused on Jesus, like us evangelicals, we bearers of the good news and sharing about Jesus. They shared also about Jesus. I like that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Botrus, I would like to speak a bit on the World Evangelical Alliance. For those listeners who don't know the World Evangelical Alliance, can you say in a few sentences what is the key mission?
Yeah, World Evangelical Alliance was started about 180 years ago in England. It has 164 evangelical alliances around the world, in most of the countries of the world. It's a network of these alliances. We do not interfere with what they do, but they are part of us. We try to connect them together. We can share about three points, strengthening these alliances, because if you strengthen them, if you work with the leaders and the alliance is healthier, then naturally the churches will be stronger and better. And then the people in the pews, the believers, also will get beneficiary out of us strengthening them. We also are a network for networks. We part of our affiliate members are denominations, large Christian organizations, mission organizations, and so on. So we try to get them together to help. And thirdly, we have an office also in Geneva. We are the only evangelical group that has an official office in Geneva where we file complaints and briefs and so on in the UN for issues of mainly religious liberty of different places in the world. So these three areas I can mention, but of course each one has parts of it, theology, mission, youth, women, and so on are part of the strengthening that we do for the alliances around the world.
I assume there are some challenges also, as in most organizations. Can you say already what you see as the main challenges the World Evangelical Alliance has, or what you want to solve during your leadership?
I'm still in a learning phase, to be frank with you. I think the vast, or the fact that it's a huge organization with all these alliances, on the one hand, is a strength, but it's also a weakness. It's a strength because you have impact on the alliances all around the world. The weakness is the difficulty of doing that with the small staff that we have. You need a very strong backbone of the organization, legally as well as organizationally. They've been trying to do that in the World Evangelical Alliance in the recent years, of making it more efficient in order to do the ministry in a better way. And I want to continue with that. For us, a big issue that also was mentioned in Seoul in our General Assembly is we're coming up to the 2000th year anniversary of the resurrection and the establishment of the church, the year 2033. So the World Evangelical Alliance, as well as several other big organizations around the world, want to reach out with the gospel to the whole world by that time. We want every person on planet Earth to hear about Jesus, to hear the gospel up till that year. So this is part of what we want to do as well. That's important. And doing it will need, things don't happen by themselves. You need legs of the program, and you need resources and so on. So that's one of the difficulties that we have.
Yeah, I assume. And the organization, how many people work for the World Evangelical Alliance?
We have about 40 only. Wow. But we have another several hundreds who, of course, volunteers in different places, but paid about 40.
Yeah, okay. Which is quite slim, for
very small,
this size of our organization. I learned actually from a podcast through Rick Warren that the center of gravity of Christianity changed quite a bit from a north earth focus to a south focus.
Yes.
And if I remember right, he said in the past there were 80% in the north half.
Europe and North America, yes.
And it's changing to becoming the opposite. How do you see this as worldwide organization?
Yes, there is a demographic change, and a lot of countries in Africa and in Asia are a lot of people coming to know the Lord, and that's great. Other places in Europe, it's been difficult in some of the places. So the main center of Christianity is moving to the global south. And a lot of people have said, electing me, although I'm not sure I'm exactly south. Israel is on the border, I'm I'm Arab, Palestinian, but Israeli. So I'm sort of maybe in between. I'm not sure about it, where to consider me, but also the head of the International Council is my brother, my friend, Godfrey Yuguraja, who's from Sri Lanka, and he's from the global south. So that's important also to do this balance, of course, between North America, Europe on the one hand, as well as the global south on the other hand, and for us all together to work together in order to advance the kingdom around the world. So it's also sort of a challenge. Different cultures, different and people who are third generation believers in Christ, while others who have a long heritage and history and different culture, different mentality, and so on. To keep that balance is a challenge. May God give me, with our team, the sensitivity to do that.
Yeah. I guess it's a big thing, to balance this out.
Yes.
What is your view, especially? I mean, as podcast is aired from Germany, what is your view on Europe, on Christians in Europe?
Christians in Europe, of course. The heritage of Christians in Europe has been felt here, and Europe has been a blessing for us for years. We looked into Europe, also North America, as places where the Reformation happened, of course, and the results of the Reformation in the Protestant churches and the evangelical churches is a blessed one. These days, Europe has its own difficulty with immigration, with the change of demographics, with woke, if you want, very progressive policies here and there in different places, hate speech, and so on. So our heart is with the Europeans. If we can help some way or another, that would be great. But we pray for Europe also. They're an essential part, of course, the European Evangelical Alliance, Germany in particular, Switzerland, Austria, all these places, England also, UK, are still very, very important for us. And we'll try to navigate and work together as one big Christian body, evangelical body around the world.
Thank you for that. Where do you see the World Evangelical Alliance in 10 years?
My dream is to see it as a strong organization, not one that's just heavy and big with lots of structures, but one that is strong and big, but without the difficult structures and the bureaucracy, that is doing the work of the kingdom. Efficient, being able to reach out with all. God has given us these alliances all around the world, some small alliances, some huge with thousands of churches, that we can be a blessing for them. And to work in an efficient way, giving resources, strengthening them, helping with theology, helping with mission, youth, training of pastors, and so on and so on. This is my dream. At the end, coming here to say, I represent all of you, but if I can help in advancing the kingdom through the ministry of the World Evangelical Alliance, helping these places with all the differences. You will find an alliance that has a difficulty in that area, another one has a difficulty in another area. If we can be a blessing, if we can be a resource for all these alliances, I would be very happy.
How can an organization be Jesus-focused?
There is no I'm not going to give you a new formula. Prayer, reading the Bible, focusing on Jesus and having him as the center. So you're asking me, how can you be Jesus-centered? I'm telling you, put Jesus in the center. But that's true. I tell you, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But me as a leader, I try to put that in a framework. Always to come back to that and not get involved too much in other things, in programs, and just forgetting sometimes or putting Jesus aside, as if let's keep him always at the center in our prayers. In a new program, does it benefit the kingdom of God? Does it glorify Jesus who is in the center? Then we do it. If not, let's try another way, and so on. So there's no magical formula, but only these basic things that we all know.
Coming a bit to leadership topics, how would you define what makes a good leader?
I think a good leader has a vision, but it's not a vision that he invented by himself or some kind of dream that he had. It's a vision that was formed after hearing from people, listening to people, praying together, hearing about it together, hearing from God about it, taking the time, and after having that vision, helping the organization to move from a point where it is right now to fulfilling that vision. Of course, it sounds simple, but of course it's not simple. Moving the organization from one place to another needs, of course, to take that vision and put it, what's the mission exactly? What are the values that we want to have at the same time? And so on, different steps and stages. So I think the leader is the one that listens well, thinks it systematically, takes his time. Sometimes I lack that a little bit. This is an admission. Now I confess, sometimes I'm a little bit, do things in a rush, a little bit too much. I should be careful with this. And then move slowly in order to the results. And then to check the results at the end. Not for us to test one another or so, but to see, to evaluate. You do something, you want to evaluate it in order to improve or change things so the results will be better results and so on. So someone who can see this whole picture, of course, I cannot do that by myself. If you're a team worker, then you will have good people with you that will help you in doing that complicated process that I just mentioned. But the leader himself or herself should be a good listener and someone who is attentive to hear from the Lord as well as from his or her colleagues.
Is then a Christian leader leading different than a secular leader?
I think so. I think there are some similarities, of course, but the Christian leader should hear from God. Not just as a slogan, I just tick that and then we go forward to talk about the similar things. No. In John 15, he says, I am the vine and you are the branches. So we get our strength, our prayer life, and the guidance from God through our prayer life, and through reading his word and through hearing from him, meditating. So that's very important. And it's not something just simple and you just move forward. That's important. If the source of our guidance is God, that's different than secular sometimes, or most of the times. So that's one thing. And then the values. So in the business world, people will say, give me a result. Give me the result, the score at the end. Here, it's even more important how you do things. What are the values that come out of the process of doing something? And that's special also for a Christian leader. if you do things after and you reach good results, but after a fight and after the team feels exhausted and they're not happy one with another and they almost hate one another and they just want to quit, or I don't know, but you get the results, but it was an exhausting and conflicting process, then it's no good. This is not pleasing to God. So the process and the values that we reflect during our walk, our journey, is also very important. And you don't have that always in the business world. These are two areas that come to mind.
What is probably very similar in a secular and a Christian environment is that people are pulling from a leader, wanted in this direction or that direction. And I would assume that this huge group you are representing, that some cultural are pulling on you, or some theological views are pulling on you. How do you find your way through this without listening to those who scream the loudest?
It's a challenge. I tell you, I don't have a simple answer. It's a daily struggle. Lots of voices calling from here and here, pushing me to certain areas.
Discernment.
Discernment.
This means
discernment or judgment from God. Good judgment from God. I had someone wanted to pray for me, and he asked me what to pray for. I told him I want this discernment or judgment, good judgment, sound judgment from God, to know exactly this is from the Lord. Is it the time to go on this path? Should I hear from this voice or not? What to take from this person, not to take, what to take from another person. I don't have answers for everything. Sometimes you need to consult, you need to think, you need to pray about it, move forward. So again, no simple answers. I wish there were. I wish there was a magical, you just AI. Give me an answer. What do you think about this and this and this? I use AI, by the way, sometimes to get the conventional wisdom of what's there. But of course, it's you need God to give you the judgment and helping godly people that came before you. I'm not here. I find out now during this month in the job, in this position, that lots of questions that are raised today in the World Evangelical Alliance, they talked about them 4 or 5 years ago, and they had plans. They put plans on paper. Maybe they did not implement them, but there were plans that they thought about them very well, very good people, very wise people. So using that, being humble enough not to think that, now Botrus is going to change everything. He's going to find the solutions for everything, without even looking if there are solutions out there. People invested hundreds of hours working on it. So being humble, listening, hearing from God, consulting, that's the formula, nothing else.
Yeah, and I guess especially in the starting time, this is very important, to find the wisdom. And I assume this is also what Solomon prayed for in the in the Bible, to find this wisdom. Yeah. And if you had the opportunity to give an advice to your younger self, let's say 20 years younger, 30 years younger, what would you tell the younger Botrus?
I think I entered into few fights that were not needed. At the time, I felt they were needed. Few fights that caused some bitterness with some people during the years. Take it more easy. And, you start seeing things in a different way. It's always better to try to reconcile with people, to find ways and not to enter into big fights. So that's one thing. Something else. I think that's it.
It's an important thing. If we get this done, I think we have solved a lot. Yeah.
And maybe something else. I did not get theological training. I did my law degree, and then I did an MBA, and I did also a special certificate to teach civics. I should have found time, but I was busy in ministry, but never did formal theological training. I would do that. I think it's important. Although, I've been sharing in churches and preaching, and even wrote books and so on that have theological part in them, but never did formal theological training. I might do that now during my time. Special program with the college here, but I would have done theological training.
Yeah. And you mentioned AI, that you're using AI, and do you see any opportunities of AI to fulfill the World Evangelical Alliance missions in parts? Is there anything where you think it could be helpful for?
I think so. We already in Seoul, in the General Assembly, we used AI to gather the information, compile it, summarize it, of the different commissions that were giving reports and so on, and discussions that we had. So we're starting to use it, and we have some good programs to. I think this is something and it's big, it's strong. It's not something that we can just neglect and continue doing things like they did in the 20th century. So if we want to be efficient and fruitful in the kingdom, we should use what's there for the benefit. AI is very powerful, and it's there for the benefit of humankind. But what about the church? Yes, why cautiously, we should also use it in helping us bringing information, questions, answers, and so on. So I think, yes, I'm still learning more about AI. Of course, this is new. This is just maybe a year that I've been using it here and there, asking questions, helping me to think, helping me to put the important questions and so on different issues. But yes, I think we should use it, but cautiously.
Yeah. But as we meet in Israel and you're Israeli, can you say a word on your view on this country? Do you have hope for the country, for the peace in this country? Anything you want to share there? As a lot of Christians are looking at Israel.
Yeah. Yes, in the south and in Israel itself. We're happy with the ceasefire right now, although it's not a 100% ceasefire, but at least Gaza. We're for peace. We are peacemakers. Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." He talked about us as his believers. Well, what happened in the last 2 years with the massive killing in Gaza, also the people killed in Israel, is devastating. But what's more worrying is the atmosphere of dehumanization that from both sides, and in the Israeli society as well, very anti, anything else that's not Jewish, which I think is a bad path that Israel is going into. I hope that changes. Maybe this is because of the time, but with time this will be reduced, and we will have more openness, more coexistence between people again, trying to live together. I'm Arab Palestinian, but I'm Israeli at the same time. I'm sort of in between. We have no other choice but to live together. You know what? Alliance, they said, do you want to leave? You want to go somewhere else? Maybe easier for you to travel, or maybe cheaper than Israel. I don't know. I'm not going anywhere. I love Nazareth. This is the hometown of Jesus. I love my life here in this country with all the difficulties. Although it's war and a lot of our community but still I love this country. I love the people. I hope the policies change and they are more open to one another, that we have a horizon for peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians, something to look forward to. Not just, we're stopping it now because there is pressure from the US, but something that will, with all the difficulty, trying to find people who bring a horizon for peace, maybe not tomorrow, but in a few years, but at least people will look forward to some kind of change and some kind of peace. So that's my prayer for this.
And your prayer for this country, if people want to pray for you, you mentioned already wisdom, judgment, anything else, what our listeners can pray for you, Botrus?
Resources for the WEA is important. We are in need. So in order to take those programs, these big plans that we have, our vision, which is a great vision for Christ, we want to take it forward, but you need resources for that. So financial help is much needed. Judgment, unity. We thank God we saw a nice symbolism of unity in the General Assembly we had in Seoul, in Korea. So we're united, I think, much more than the near past, at least. I don't know about the long time ago, but at least recently it showed there is a sweet spirit of unity among the evangelicals who work with the World Evangelical Alliance. I pray that this continues. So unity in our mission in order to reach the world with the gospel. 3, working with others, not alone. We're not the sole laborer in the field, but there is, of course, other organizations, good, strong organizations in cooperation with them in order to reach out with the gospel. As evangelicals, as I said before, we are bearers of the good news. We want to fulfill that. So if we have unity, we have resources, we have a clear mission, we have a good spirit, we can go forward in order to do that.
Last question, and the question I always ask in the interview: if you have one wish from the people who listens to the podcast, what do you wish from them? What is your wish from the Christians that listen to the podcast?
Mainly, I don't want to wish for us. I'd like to wish for them. We are coming towards Christmas soon, so I'd like to wish them a really blessed Christmas. I pray that they be encouraged this Christmas, focus on Jesus, and to pray. Maybe for the World Evangelical Alliance is important, but I'd like them to pray also for Israel, Palestine, the whole region here, that there will be a lasting peace in this area that will affect and have a very positive impact on the gospel, on people coming to know Jesus, and making also ministry easier for us in this time. So pray for peace, the peace of Jesus to come. So we'll be able to share about his love for people in this region. That will be very helpful.
Botrus, thank you very much for inviting me to your home here and for speaking with us.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the ADLERBLICK journey. We appreciate every subscription, like, and comment. Follow ADLERBLICK on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our newsletter at adlerblick.de/newsletter.